So, this is kind of interesting. Welcome to the mind of Simery. A few years ago, I don't know, probably 15 years ago by this point, I had a friend who I consider a mentor, still a very important part of my life. Um, and he really taught me some things about considering what's going on and how we respond to situations. And that brings me to the title of this episode, which is The $20 Severance: Kinship, Cowardice, and the Cost of Clarity. So, there's this situation, I guess, going on in my life right now. And I'm sure it applies to many people. Um, but essentially let's propose a situation, okay? So, as you know, this is the Mind of Cy Marie, where clarity is ritual and every breach becomes a transmission. Today's episode isn't not entirely about $20. It's about the cost of proximity to people who mistake your kindness for currency and your silence for compliance. A month ago, I had a relative who needed some help. They had an overdue power bill. I wasn't exactly doing that great, and honestly, I've been making my bills just barely every month. So if you want to donate to my Cash App or my Venmo or give me some money on Buy Me a Coffee, believe me, I could definitely use all of your support. Go pick up some of my products off of the Printify Infinity Creation store. Go buy some of my books. Even subscribe here if you're interested in continuing to support what I'm doing and want to see me continue to do well. But keep that in mind here. So, um, a month ago, a relative needed some help and they had an overdue power bill. So, when they first asked me, I did not have the $20. I managed to scrape together $20 and I sent it to them without any questions asked. They immediately told me that they would pay me back as soon as they got paid. And I told them, okay, when you can, expecting that they would. A few weeks passed by and I never got paid. Nothing. Well, 2 weeks ago, I reached out to this person and I informed them that I had a gift that I wanted to give them. And this is a pretty uh, significant gift, honestly. Um, it's it's worth about $375. Um, but it's something that I earned through campaign work I've done. He asked me what it was. They were really excited, uh, told me that they would come and get the gift. And then a week passed by and I didn't hear anything and they didn't come to get it. Um, they didn't show up. And so I finally followed up and I was like, hey, maybe I could bring this to you because it's taking up space. Can I get it to you? And they did not say a single word to me. 6 days passed. I said, I guess that you don't want this. And then the person just left that group chat without a single word. So then I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to beg a person to take a gift, right? Um, but I do want my $20 back because I did not give that money just because it wasn't just a donation for nothing. So I sent the person a Cash App request and they paid it immediately. But they didn't send a message. They didn't acknowledge me, just the transaction. So I sent a final DM to say, thanks for paying what you owed. Since you won't respond, I'm going to take your silence as a sign that you don't want to know me anymore. But you just, obviously don't have the spine to say that. And told them I wished them the best and gave them a goodbye with a heart emoji. And this is the moment where I stopped performing kinship. I'm not going to pretend silence was neutral here. I'm not going to give people a way to treat my presence like I'm a convenience store, open when they need something and then closed when accountability arrives. So that's a good way to tell. Like a friend of mine just told me, family is not always blood. And I wrote a poem about this just the other day because of someone dear to me posing the question, well, what does family mean to you? Well, obviously, family means to me that when you reach out and you need something, I'm going to do everything I can to try to help you. But when you give me your word that you're going to pay me back on the flip side because you know that I'm already struggling and a month goes by, that's going to stand out, especially after, out of the kindness of my heart, I'm offering to give you a gift that you seemed all excited about until the moment that I made it clear that there were certain things that I don't appreciate or approve of, and that I will not be tolerant of those things. And that directly applies to people trying to martyrize Charlie Kirk, which is something I am not okay with. I've already talked about that on this show before. I am not going to martyrize, nor am I going to mourn, nor am I going to prop up a person who was elevating rhetoric that is directly taken out of the Germany 1930s era tyrant's handbook. I'm not going to do that. And Mr. CK did that. And I've made it very abundantly clear to anyone, friends, family, foe, or otherwise, that if you agree with those things and things like replacement theory are something that you subscribe to, you do not belong in my life. Now, if this is the reason why this person has chosen to no longer have anything to do with me after all of these kindnesses and me showing consistently that I am a person that can be relied on for family, but that I will not tolerate disrespect, I perceive that no response as a response, which is what most of us should do, right? So this is the moment I stop performing kinship. I'm not going to pretend that silence is neutral. I completely see through it. I'm not going to give people who treat my presence like a convenience store the opportunity to come through the door anymore. So we're going to talk about extraction now. I have a child. I have 4 children actually, who are all Latino, and I am a multi-ethnic white presenting person. My children are half Latino. Here in my household, it is 2 women that keep the bills going. And one of them is a woman of color, obviously, very much presenting. I have the ancestry, but I'm white presenting, so therefore the white privilege is there. I won't deny it. But also, it gives you a totally different perspective on life. Watch Sinners and check out Mary's character to see what I'm referencing there. But we should not be expected, women of color especially, to be emotional ATMs, crisis managers, and fallback plans. Family, we're supposed to help, forgive, and do all these things, but somehow we're not allowed to demand it to be reciprocated. And when we do, then we become too much, and we get to be afforded with things like this silent treatment. It's not just that a gift was refused from me. It's the refusal to actually face the mirror being held up. And supporting people like Charlie Kirk, which is a platform that totally erases our own bloodline. And I want to emphasize that this person actually has family members, my family members, who are lesbians and married, who are involved with a black man and about to give birth to a half black child and have 2 already existing half Hispanic children as well. Does anybody want to stop and go look up the kinds of things that Charlie Kirk had to say about either of those groups of people and see why I would be the one to say, this is not okay, and be loving enough to step in front of my family to tell them, open your eyes, you're being misled and it's making me not respect you anymore? Because that's who I am. That's why we're here on the Mind of Marie, to get you guys an idea of how I think. And I understand that there aren't a lot of people who think like me, and no one needs to think like me or 100% like me. We all have our perceptions and viewpoints, and that is valid. But when you are elevating and propping up harmful rhetoric that directly endangers our family members, I'm going to be damned if I'm not going to say something about it. And if you still want to continue to follow that, you have the right to. So, knowing that we are talking about other families, members who are people of color, and queer family members that are married to the same gender, and still choosing to align with worldviews that completely flatten them all, that's violence. That's oppression. That's not just a difference of opinion. That's not ignorance. That's betrayal. Let me highlight that word. That is betrayal. It's treason. It's traitorous. So I listed the bar 6360 that I was going to give to this person on the marketplace. I reclaim the space. I reclaim the value. I reclaim my peace. You don't want the gift? I'm not going to just let it sit here and continue to take up space. I'm going to sell it to somebody who wants it. Fine by me. But further to that, I'm not going to visit. I won't ask for help. I won't perform love for people who refuse to honor mine. And that's the biggest thing. See, I didn't lose anything. He lost someone who helped him. And so when you know you're the good person, you're the loving, kind person, you're doing the humanitarian thing, you're living by the morality that you claim to believe in, which, let me emphasize that I am a Gnostic who follows the teachings of Yahushua HaMashiach. And it's just maddening to me how many people come around only when they need something, then turn around and treat me like I'm the bad person for having morals that align with Jesus Christ. Someone who showed up, someone who gave without strings until silence became the string. And if you are listening to this and thinking I've been there, then let this be your permission slip. You don't owe proximity to people who treat you like your presence is a transaction. You don't owe anything. You don't owe them silence to protect their comfort. You owe yourself clarity. So, this has been the Mind of Marie, and today we talked about gift offered, debt paid, respect revoked, and peace reclaimed. Until next time, seal your boundaries, archive your clarity, and never apologize for refusing to be erased. Have a great Wednesday.